Introduction to Property Law Part 1. What is property law? Property law is a branch of law that governs the various forms of ownership and tenancy of property. This includes both real property, which is land and buildings, and personal property, which refers to movable items. It defines the rights and responsibilities of individuals or entities in relation to the possession, use, and transfer of property. When we talk about ownership of land, we're referring to real property. Property law outlines how land can be owned, transferred, or used. Key aspects include freehold estates, which is ownership of land for an indefinite period. The owner has the right to use the land as they wish, subject to laws and regulations. Leasehold estates, which is ownership of land for a fixed period as specified in a lease agreement. After the lease expires, ownership reverts to the landlord. And finally, transfer of ownership, which includes laws that regulate how land ownership can be sold, gifted, or inherited. Besides owning the land itself, individuals can own specific rights on land which are recognized and protected by property law. These rights are known as proprietary rights and include easements, which is the right to use another person's land for a specific purpose, such as a pathway or utility line. Covenants, which are legally binding promises written into deeds and can restrict how land is used, for example, prohibiting commercial activities in a residential area. Mortgages, which is a security interest in land held by a lender until a debt is repaid. And finally, profits, a prendre, which is the right to take something off someone else's land, like minerals or timber. Proprietary rights in land. Proprietary rights are significant because they run with the land. These rights and obligations can bind future owners. For example, if a property has a covenant restricting building heights, any new owner must comply with it. Proprietary rights are enforceable against third parties. These rights are protected against interference by others, ensuring the owner's interests are secure. They can also be registered. Under the Land Registration Act 2002, many proprietary rights must be registered to be fully effective, which provides public notice of these rights. In simple terms, property law governs what people can own in relation to land and how they can use it. It ensures that ownership rights are clear, transferable, and enforceable, providing a stable framework for individuals and businesses to own and invest in property. Principles of property law. Property law distinguishes between two main types of rights: proprietary rights and personal rights. Understanding the difference is important because it affects how rights can be enforced and what remedies are available if those rights are breached. First, let's talk about proprietary rights or property rights. These are rights that are attached to specific property, such as land or buildings. They are connected to the property itself, not just to a person. They can be sold, inherited, or otherwise transferred along with the property. Proprietary rights are enforceable against anyone who interferes with them, not just a specific individual. For example, ownership of a house, an easement allowing you to use a path on someone else's land, or a mortgage secured on a property. If a proprietary right is breached, the holder may be entitled to recover the property itself or prevent others from using it. Now let's look at personal rights. These are rights that one person has against another specific person. They arise from personal agreements or obligations and can only be enforced against the person who owes the obligation. Generally, they cannot be transferred to others. For example, a contract where a builder agrees to repair your roof. If a personal right is breached, the usual remedy is compensation or damages from the person who breached the agreement. So, why does this distinction matter? Well, the scope of enforcement is different. Proprietary rights are tied to the property and can be enforced against anyone who comes into possession of it, meaning future owners are also bound by these rights. Personal rights, on the other hand, are only enforceable against the person who made the commitment. If that person sells the property, the new owner is not bound by the personal agreement. The remedies available also differ. For proprietary rights, the holder can often recover the property itself or obtain an injunction to stop others from interfering. For personal rights, the holder is typically limited to seeking monetary compensation. Let's consider some practical examples. For a proprietary right, imagine you have an easement that allows you to cross your neighbor's land to access the road. If your neighbor sells their land, the new owner must honor your easement. Your right to cross the land remains intact. For a personal right, suppose you have a contract with a neighbor to water their plants while they're away, and in return they agree to let you use their garage. If your neighbor sells their house, the new owner is not obligated to let you use the garage because the agreement was personal. If the neighbor breaches the agreement, you might receive compensation, but you can't force the new owner to honor it. Establishing the type of right is crucial for several reasons. Proprietary rights offer stronger and more extensive legal protection than personal rights. Knowing you have a proprietary right means you have a lasting interest in the property, which can provide security and peace of mind. Proprietary rights can also add value to your property or investment because they can enhance your use and enjoyment of the property. Understanding the type of right you have determines what legal remedies are available if your rights are infringed. In summary, proprietary rights are powerful because they are attached to the property and can be enforced against anyone, providing stronger remedies like reclaiming the property or stopping interference. Personal rights are limited to the individuals involved in the agreement and typically offer remedies like monetary compensation. Determining the type of right is essential to understand your legal position, enforceability of the right, and the remedies available to you.